Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first Chakra Inner Healing class, or previously called Relationship Chakra Healing class, whatever you want to name it. So I want to first just start off with a little bit of a preparation exercise for all of us for the work today. So I know not everyone might be here yet. It's just the start of the hour. So let's just chat for a little while before we do that. And I want to say I've been doing something lately. Those of you in energy healing and energy coaching can really understand this. And maybe whatever course you're in, you really understand this. So it's been really helping me. I've been doing the setting of the space with the imagining, just I go to each corner of the room and I just imagine a light there, like a tube of light going up. And I set an intention that any energy that's not good for me or not good for my client or students or participants in meditation will go to those four corners. And that light will take that energy wherever it needs to go to evolve, like with love. So it's not something that's like taking toxicity or anything like that. It's just like, let my room, let my space be protected by these pillars of light. And you can do that right now as an intention in your own space. And I literally I don't actually see the pillars of light. I don't even really feel the pillars of light. I'm going to be honest here. I'm not pretending to be some energy master that it's like, they are there, no question. I'm pretending. But I go to every corner of the room and I set that intention and I chant a little and I do my hands like this, imagining the column of light. And, part of me thinks it's a little silly. And part of me, from evidence now doing this for a while, has shown me that when I lead a large group in meditation, and normally I would feel some energetic kind of fatigue after, I'm not feeling it anymore. When I have a really difficult coaching session, there's a lot of pain and suffering. It's not affecting my energy body. So I tell you about this practice because I'm finding it really works without some big experiential part of it for me. It's just really that intention setting. So we can all do that and sort of feel into that. Could everyone share in the chat what course you're in? So there's actually about 100 students that get this training, 99 to be exact, and maybe after a couple team members, 95. And we're from different programs. This is a bonus offered to newer students in Coaching Institute and a few people who decided to add it on. So great. I'm seeing relationship students, activation method students, and energy coaching students. And there might even be some group coaching students in here too. Might be, which I love. I just love that it's all of us doing this together. So could I also get a read? Could you put a heart up next to your face? And this is not a quiz at all. I'm just wondering if you were able to listen to the meditation on Chakra 1. I'm going to go through all the content, not yet, somewhere. Okay, great. So put up a heart if you were. So I'm going to explain a little bit about the way this course is laid out. And if you're like, where is this course? I've got so many things in my library. I don't even know how I'm going to find this course, Magli. I get you. I understand. We do have too many things in your library, and I just don't know how to remove things without people getting angry that things were removed. But so the course title is Chakra Inner Healing Certification, Inner Healing Coach Certification. And the way the room is set up, the classroom, is you already have there 8 different healing meditations for each of the 7 chakras, and then 1 for balancing all of them. And there's a little introduction video. Each of those healing meditation guided sessions are also teaching you as a coach. So what I did to prepare for class, I'm assuming someone studying the material would do too. One of the things that happens to me is I create something and then I forget it. and I have to go back into it from another kind of part of me or framework to understand what was going on there. So what I did was I did not meditate with myself. I played the meditation and I took notes on every part of the healing. And then I actually just a half an hour ago, added those notes to your room. So under the healing meditation, you'll have 9 pages of notes that are sort of part transcript, part steps, keywords. They're not an exact transcript. That was me. I actually hurt my wrist typing so fast. I was transcribing a lot. I have weird ligament stuff, so don't worry about that. But I was happy to make those notes. And then you also have there, as a resource in your room, you have a journal to go along with each healing meditation. So you're only going to find one a week. So I'm making them as we go. You're really getting a view into my form of course creation. So first I recorded all 8 sessions in about 2 weeks. I focused in on that. Then I made a sales page about that with all the kind of benefits of that. And now as I'm teaching the course, I'm going through it, creating the notes, the journal to go with the healing meditations, the session guide for the coaches, and the action. I think I called it, I don't know, the old name is action forms, but it's like a certification journal for each time you do the session with a client, you fill it out, and that's just for your graduation. So to graduate from the course, you're going to do the healing journal based on listening to the 1-hour meditation. You're going to at least listen to the recording of this class, like today, that is for you as a coach to learn to do the session. And you're going to practice the session with yourself and with a client. So coaching yourself is a very interesting skill. You can look at a session guide and you can read it to yourself. Take time to receive your own healing as you are both the coach and the client. And I really, really recommend doing this actually with any kind of coaching session guide. It's faster on you than with a client, so about half an hour. And that's so it's just those 8 modules to graduate from this and get this certification as a chakra inner healing coach from Coaching Institute. Of course, there's tons of chakra work out there and vast different traditions and different ways. So let's talk about the good stuff now. Let's talk about the content. Any questions about the layout of the course first? The class schedule is there. The links to the classes are there. You'll also be getting reminders. There are no quizzes. You'll just be filling out those forms. Okay, let me know if you have a question at any time, okay? So let's talk about what a chakra is, what an energy center is. Let's kind of rewind here a sec. I've been throwing around that word. So if any of you have studied yoga or energy medicine of some kind, or Chinese medicine or Ayurveda, you probably know what I'm talking about. But the idea is, and in different systems, there's hundreds of different energy centers and different sort of rivers or streams of energy. But for this course, what we're going to be focusing on is 7 energy centers. You can use the word chakra or energy center. You don't have to use chakra. You don't have to use the Sanskrit words. I will share them with you. And the energy centers physically are not there. You cannot find them with a microscope, right? You cannot find them with an X-ray or an MRI, but they are felt. They are real and they are felt experiences in the body. So the root chakra is like at the tailbone area. And then the, and by the way, like I've been studying chakras for over 30 years. I don't remember all the names. Like Muladhara is the name for the root chakra, but I'm not going to say all the proper names all the time. I'm just going to talk about the energy centers. I really don't think it matters. It's just like dropping names when you're being networking or something. You know, the people that drop so many names, I just get dizzy by all the name dropping that people do. I never remember anyone's name. And so people might think I'm not as, you know, connected or something. And yeah, I'm probably not. But it's the same for me with energy centers. We don't have to drop the names. They're energy centers. It's about the felt experience. So the lower belly area, kind of deep within where our uterus is if you're a woman, or where it was if you've had a hysterectomy like me, that deep part of the body, that is the second chakra. And then the third is the solar plexus area, kind of if you go to your lower ribs and you kind of go in. I love to dig in there for some reason, but that's like the solar plexus area. And then there's the heart area and the throat and the forehead and the crown. Now, everyone feels an energy center in their own way, and you might not feel anything at all in the beginning, and your clients might not feel anything at all. So we use imagination. We imagine experiencing it. When it is actually experienced, it might feel like a spinning disc. It might have the sense of a flower opening or a geometric shape. Some people sense with visually like light in those areas. Some people feel a circle or a ball. There is the front side and the back side of each energy center. I personally feel them like a focusing concentration of energy. So it's just like a real close kinesthetic awareness. I have felt them in the past in certain settings and certain energy exercises as spinning discs, but that's not like what I feel every time. So our feeling about it can really change and evolve, and you don't have to feel it to get the benefit. We're going into that part of the body and exploring and sensing. And in each of those energy centers, you could also go from the lens, the trauma-informed lens, or the somatic healing lens, that in each part of the body, and specifically in these energy centers that are like vortexes of sensation and memory and feelings and beliefs, there is stored content. So stored content from our life, like let's say we were bullied a lot as a kid. The idea that the body has a memory and will take a wound and basically encapsulate it and hold it until we are ready, until we are whole enough to heal it, or until it gets triggered by another wounding. That can happen too. So, and woundings can be weird. So I'm going to tell you a weird wounding just to give you a sense of the variety of woundings. I just realized this wound recently. I get really triggered by therapists who with really kind, compassionate voices that just are like, oh, yes. And they really take you in and they're really sweet. And they're just like, oh, but they kind of look at you with this face like of concern and compassion. And they have a certain voice to them, like that you just this therapy voice. And I love therapists. I go to therapy. I'm 100% behind therapy. But my girlfriend kept telling me to listen to this one therapist on YouTube. And I was like, boy, he's good. He's really good. I get it. But gosh, I'm triggered. Why am I so triggered? And then it dawned on me, maybe with the help of Mark and my girlfriend too, that I witnessed a lot of inappropriate therapeutic information as a child. A lot of my, you could say, traumas, like they're real traumas, were watching therapy because my parents would have me behind the one-way mirror watching as they taught therapy. It was so inappropriate. And who was I surrounded by? These kind therapists. I was in a room, I was a child in a room of like 20 of these kind, compassionate people with these kinds of voices and the way they looked at you. And so now, fast forward, I'm whole, I'm very grounded, I'm very connected to my root chakra, I am ready to heal. Never before in my life did this happen. Now I hear that kind of therapeutic voice. I see it. I'm triggered. Oh, good. Now I have something to heal. So now when I get triggered, it's not like a horrible event. It's like okay, this is an opportunity. Now I can kind of discover and go in there and find out what that information is and give it healing. And this is, I tell you this story because I think it's kind of interesting actually that this type of communication would be triggering for me. I find that fascinating. And I think it's good to be fascinated with ourselves. It can sound a little egotistical, but I think it's part of the healing journey. So there's a lot of other examples of this, like someone might have been bitten by a dog and they hear or see a dog and they get re-triggered, right? Because at some point that being bitten by the dog got, this is just a theory about it, it got sort of encapsulated and held within so that one could function. Because if we were always triggered all the time by our wounds, it would be very hard to take care of ourselves and other people, to work, to go to the dentist, to eat, whatever it is. So we hold it away from us until we're ready to be with that. And if an event happens, like a dog approaches us and barks, okay, I know to protect myself. That wound sort of magnifies. All right, Elizabeth, yes. Hi, I love that you raised your hand. Good.
Hi, Magley.
Hi.
Thanks for taking me. I guess my first question is, if we have a client who has no frame of reference for energy centers in the body, aren't necessarily showing any kind of resistance to it, but are kind of perplexed by it and having a hard time wrapping their head around it, would you just completely avoid this with them? Or would you still try and work through it and kind of...
Okay, so they're perplexed by it. I would want to know if they're interested, or this is something, do they want to go into the body? Do they want to create healing of beliefs and emotions?
So like stimulate their curiosity about it, like kind of question where they're...
Well, I would start maybe with a higher self journey. And I would start with some work going into just how does it feel to let yourself go into your lower belly? Put a hand there. And is it okay to sense in there? You can keep your eyes open and just tell me about what you're sensing there as you connect with your stomach, with your like lower, like underneath your stomach, but like where if you take you take a big breath and you can feel the diaphragm expanding, you can kind of feel that lower belly. How does it feel to go in there? How does it feel to follow your breath into your body? So often the first step is just going into the body. Before we go into the energy body, we're going into the physical body.
Yeah, because I guess I'm thinking of like specific clients I have that are kind of very science minded, and this might be very abstract for them to be like energy center, like where. So really
you can just ask them. You can say, so I'm thinking of an exercise that I think would help you.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard of yoga before and how yogic healing goes into the body and specific energy centers, and the way acupuncture affects meridians in the body of energy and helps stimulate them to bring flow. We can actually do the same thing with our imagination and our emotions and our attention. So would you want to try a process like this with me?
Great.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I'm hoping all of you will find plenty of people who want to do this work and really want to go into the body and really want to understand their energy centers and really want to be able to clear energy that doesn't belong within them. So let's talk about that for a moment. One of the things we're doing is helping our clients clear, you could say clear is a funny word, but lighten, dissolve, heal parts of themselves that feel blocked, or where there's a kind of suffering. It could be physical pain, emotional pain. And we can learn techniques in all of energy coaching. We can learn techniques to talk to the body. Like this morning, my wrist was really hurting. And I went into the wrist, and I held the wrist and I talked to her. You know, so this is in a way what we're doing with all of the energy centers. So let's look at some of the other keywords before we go to what the session guide is for this one. And this will also all sort of make more sense to you or more feeling to you when you do the healing meditation. I would love if any of you did do the healing meditation to add any of your comments about it, so that kind of people know what to expect. So in the central channel, so we're going to talk about what the central channel is. So there are these 7 chakras, energy centers. And the thing that's kind of connecting all of them is this, we call it a central channel in Ayurveda and in yoga and in different kind of Vedic terminology. I don't know if the Buddhists use that word, I'm not sure. But this is like a highway for energy within. And this highway runs from the very bottom of your tailbone or energy center, that first energy center, all the way up to your crown and back down. And when we have spiritual openings or awakenings of some kind, I'm not talking about the awakening, I'm not saying enlightenment or anything, but we have an energy awakening, we have a beautiful ripening of this physical, spiritual, divine energy in our system, we will tend to feel this flow of energy. Sometimes it's felt all around one, not just internal, but in the whole world. Trees seem to be moving and breathing and thinking, and they are, you know, and there is this deep connecting with all of things. But in the body, when this kind of opening is happening in the body, sometimes the energy centers are really experienced, and sometimes just this flow of energy. As you do this work with yourself and with someone else, chances are high that you're going to start feeling this flow of energy if you don't now. As you bring, the reason we start with the root chakra, this is really important, is we need a stable home base. Our root energy center directs what are called vayus, or kind of rivers of energy, to flow in the direction that's helpful to the body. So if a river of energy is out of sorts, one will feel constant belching or upward moving air, or the need to talk in a kind of manic way. That's when that energy river is not grounded. It just keeps going out. There can be a lot of vomiting too. I'm talking extreme situations. As we ground and root into that lower chakra area, emotionally we stabilize, and we really connect with our self-love, and we're able to reparent ourselves. So a lot of the issues that arise in the whole energy body, in the whole system, come from not being able to go down and in to the lower body and the lower chakras. A lot of our society and culture has us thinking and feeling too, but thinking a lot. And we go up energetically, and we go out because we have to do, we have to make money, we have to show up, we have to, you know, exercise, we have to this, we have to that. And it's a lot of forward, upward movement. So this going in and down is really stabilizing. And by grounding, we mean connecting with the earth and connecting with the body. And that allows the energy to find its rightful place, which can sometimes feel like a gentle swirling up. When you see meditators kind of doing this movement, or people praying, doing this movement, they're often really in connection with that energy flow, and that's how it presents. Now, one of the things that can happen, just all warnings are, you know, I want to be completely frank. As energy awakens and opens and flows, it will find what needs healing. It will find what is stuck. It will find where there's pain points and difficulty and old beliefs. And you can metaphorically imagine this as stirring the pot. So after my first energy spiritual sort of opening happened, I started to have horrible nightmares every night. And I consulted a spiritual therapist, and she said to me, that's really good news. You're stirring the pot of your unconscious. You're going in there, and all of that material that wasn't safe to be processed is now safe to be processed. And that's why it's so important as coaches doing this work that we're able to welcome all the emotions. We're able to welcome and hold healing space for all the parts of the person, the younger self, the scared self, the really ambitious self, whatever it is, all those parts of self can be held and loved. And you can teach your client to do this. So they're giving themselves self-healing because they're allowing all of themselves in and to ask for what they need. I love that, Amanda. Share that with the group about the energy. So we've talked a little bit about central channel. We've talked a bit about energy, relationship, and our chakras. So let's talk for a moment about beliefs. As you and as your clients go into these chakras and witness what is there, there's going to be physical sensation or lack of physical sensation. I don't feel anything. I just feel pain. I feel warmth. I feel a tension. I feel my muscles clenching. If I were to imagine a color, it would be blue. These are the kinds of information you'll get. We can ask a client, and this is what happened in the healing meditation, is, and I don't remember the exact wording, but basically asking to be shown, are there some old beliefs in this energy center? Are there some emotions that need to be heard? And what we're doing in this coaching session with a client is we are helping the client listen, release what is no longer needed. And we'll talk about how we do that in a minute when we talk about clearing the energy. And then fill in that spot in the body with love or with divine gifts or divine energy. It depends on the person's belief system, with universal qualities, with caring, with protection. We can have guides for the energy system that are assisting also. So as the person feels into that energy center, they're going to notice if there's some old content there, some old beliefs, feelings, woundings, relationships that need to be evolved and released in a loving way, allowed to go on, so that the new, more loving and empowering beliefs and emotions and sensations can take up space there. So very common in this, and I know, guys, I'm talking today's class, talking generally and then talking specifically. In future classes, we'll just be going specifically to each energy center, but I wanted to be giving you kind of the overview at the same time. Really probably should have been its own class. Whenever you need, shake out your hands, take a little walk around, get some water, dance. Yeah, so because I know it's a lot of listening. So one of the common difficulties that are experienced by many people is having a sort of critical self or a feeling of unworthiness, not belonging, not being enough. We might call that low self-esteem. We might call that not having confidence. In psychology, it can be called introjection, where one hears the critical parental voice speaking to them, or it could be a grandparent, or could be society, it could be Facebook, I mean, whatever it is, interjecting and saying you're not enough in some way. And so one of the reasons, and from an energy medicine point of view, that so many people have lower back pain is that that part of the body holds all that wounding of not being worthy, not feeling at home within oneself the way one is, always wanting and needing to change and be better and different. That all of those messages given to us in the world right now, plus a childhood perhaps of not being given the love and comfort and support that was needed to build a healthy personality and a healthy psychology, a healthy connection to oneself, that gets triggered in on a physical level with pain in the lower back. So I never tell someone you've got pain in your lower back because you weren't loved enough. I would never tell someone that, right? And by the way, I am queen of lower back pain. So I have 2 shattered discs. I've gone through years of physical therapy. I walked around tilted like this for about 3 months. I refused to get surgery. And I had every coach I taught in a live training at that point, I was teaching a lot, come up to me, not everyone, but a whole bunch of them come up and tell me what the root cause of my suffering was. And I smiled and I was professional about it, but I couldn't stand it. I can't stand it when people make it a spiritual cause for a physical pain. And I searched in myself deeply for, is it because I've moved so much I have this pain? Is it my relationship with such and such that I have this pain? I looked for every cause I could. And I'm sure all of it all builds up down there. And then we'll have a structural injury or a structural tendency that creates a physical wound. But do we carry stress and tension in our body in different places? Absolutely. We all know that, right? Some of us, it's in our shoulders, some of it's in our back, some of us, it's our knees. And when we do this healing work, we don't need to have a one event. We don't have to find a root cause. Instead, we invite whatever right now today wants healing to receive healing. And we trust our intuitive wisdom. So we might get a memory of being 5 and being shamed in some way. We might get a memory from last week having a conflict. Whatever comes in, that is held in a really sacred, loving way and given love, given room to speak, to receive healing. And we don't re-wound someone by having them tell us about the traumatic event. We just say whatever is showing up matters. Take some deep breaths with it. And let's hold it, and let's call in your guides to support you, or let's call in the universe. Let's call in your emotions to support this healing. You don't have to know the details to give healing. And we trust that the client will only bring in, and we tell them, only go with what feels right today. This does not have to be difficult. We're not trying to make it more intense. We're just allowing what is showing up to receive healing right now. So we're always going at the pace and the depth that the client is able to be with that day. It's not better to do more. Sometimes it's worse to do more. So as coaches, I can't say this enough. We are not digging and looking for like, what is broken? That's not important. Instead, we are teaching the client to go inward and hold that open, loving space for themselves, and then to bring in healing metaphors through nature, through breathing, maybe through song or through movement, whatever works, guides, angels, whatever works. They are bringing in the healing resources. Pretty much the same as all of energy coaching, but now we're focusing in on the chakras. And we're telling the client about what typically does show up there. So this critical self, this sense of not being comfortable in oneself. If a person is feeling out of body a lot, I've had clients say to me, the reason I'm here is I'm not in here. I'm out here and I want to be in here and I don't know how to be in here. So start with the root chakra. Now that's a pretty evolved person who recognizes that. The way you'll see that in just ordinary life is somebody who needs to talk nonstop. That might be a sign. I'm not saying it necessarily is, but it might be a sign of being really in the head and forward, can't stop talking, or it's a coping mechanism. It's a way to self-soothe, to talk a lot. When you see someone, any of the stress responses like freezing, just going blank, confused, that's a sort of disassociation. We are not really, to protect ourselves, we don't want to feel in that moment. And so we sort of go wide-eyed and confused. So, other stress responses, to fight, to defend, these are all great coping mechanisms. They're wonderful. They keep us safe as human beings. And yet, they usually take us away from that deep connection with ourselves. So this is an opportunity to go down and in and be present with oneself. But I'm just giving you examples of when you might find that a coaching client could use this kind of work. Okay, I'm going to just check the messages a second. Okay, so when you guys have a question for me, will you start the message with question so I know and I go to it? Okay. Let's see what else. All right, we can nickname our personality or our ego. So we all need a healthy personality. We need a persona. We need a way that we are in the world, that we have likes, we have dislikes. If we didn't have that, it would be pretty hard to function, right? Now, the trouble is, though, with even the healthiest personality and ego, which I'm not telling you to get rid of your ego. I'm so glad you have an ego, thank goodness. And part of this process is strengthening your ego too, to be really healthy and grounded and present for you. It can get in the way though sometimes. So sometimes as we're doing this work and we're going in and we're really developing this spiritual presence with ourselves, if we find that suddenly, and this doesn't happen to everyone, but if you or your client finds suddenly you're focusing on a work meeting tomorrow, or what you're going to cook for dinner, or what John said yesterday when you were at basketball practice, whatever it is, chances are you could say, that's my sweet personality, my sweet darling ego, my bud, whatever you want to call your ego, just trying to protect me right now from going too deep, from basically it's like, I'm much more aligned today with the word persona versus ego. It feels more right to me. But it's like our persona wants things to stay the same. We want to stay, we're afraid of not being functional as our personality. And at least that's how I experience it right now, that it's a fear of being everything. It's a fear of being so connected. It's a fear of going to places of pain, places of the past. And so gives us something really good to think about, like that list for the shopping trip or the work meeting or something else. Seems really important. I got to get down those notes about the work meeting. When my persona gets really tricky, I'll be in a deep meditation and suddenly I'm given the most beautiful, what I think in the moment is beautiful poetry. I'm like, well, I should stop meditating and write down this poetry, right? And I've learned over time, it's not really that beautiful a poem. I'm just sort of tricking myself in the moment to stop meditating and go do some writing. Healthy activity, wonderful creative flow, but it's still taking me away from that centered focus on healing or on being. So that's just something to watch out for. And I think it's really helpful to nickname the personality or the ego in a loving way, because we're not trying to destroy it. In some spiritual traditions, you are trying to kind of have an ego death, and that's fine. I honor those traditions. Man, I've been a part of those traditions. But for energy coaching, I don't think that's where we're at as energy coaches. If that's your tradition, then I honor you, and I'm sure you'll use this in a wise way, or I hope you'll use this in a wise way. Most people, even spiritual seekers, they need some sense of self to continue and be healthy and supportive. They need to know that they like vanilla ice cream instead of chocolate ice cream. They need to know that their tooth hurts. They need to know that the mortgage or the rent needs to be paid, right? So the Muladhara chakra is the root chakra. We've talked about where it is, the base of our spine. It helps us feel secure, settled, safe, connected. It helps us as children learn to bond and be comforted and supported by our caregivers. So if we didn't have nice caregivers who knew, or educated caregivers or caring caregivers who knew how to do that for whatever reason, maybe it was their own trauma, their culture, whatever it was, person didn't get that, there's going to usually be some disturbance in the root energy center. Now, where I differ from some folks is that I'm a big believer in positive life experience. So this is where kind of my life coaching angle, I think, comes into this sort of healing work. And I really, really think that, I mean, I've just witnessed in hundreds of people who had horrible traumatic childhoods with no healthy bonding, no comfort, all of that. Yet, whatever it was in them, maybe it was one book they read, one teacher they had, one thing they witnessed, they went on to create loving, kind, comforting, bonding adult relationships. They became good parents. They became loving friends. They learned to take care of themselves in a good way. And all of those experiences, whether it was one little good experience or many, those are resources now. So it's not, in my view, it's not all over because you had a bad childhood. That's just one piece. And then people go on to build themselves, their love and their security in their own way. And it's really important as coaches that we get some of those healthy experiences shared, because it's the love they now have for their friends, for their children, for themselves, that is going to assist them in creating healthy energy. The wounds need healing, the wounds need releasing, but what is creating that integrity emotionally and physically and energetically is the love, is the kindness. So just removing something doesn't matter if it's not being filled back up with that the way I'm getting it right now is structure, like healthy structure of kindness, love, wisdom, discernment. So it's not like you're just a mush of love that has no discernment. Often if there's been a destructive pattern in the root energy center, the structuring needs to be discerning as well. So to know, I don't let people push me around. I have strong boundaries, and that allows for a very solid foundation. I can make hard decisions. I have that within me to do that. And that really creates that integrity inside. Any questions, guys? Please, please. Question: with the persona ego suggestions on how to help get past that in order to recognize emotional patterns, is there something wrong in doing that? Wait, did I skip something there? Okay, sorry, I think I have two questions here, Angie and Rishi. Did I just merge them as I read that? I'm not sure. Oh, okay. Suggestions on how to get past the ego in order to go deep, in order to heal. So this is where the work with the energy centers is so sacred and helpful and healing, is that as you enter, I haven't talked about these as portals in a way to another realm or universe within each energy center. That, and I know I might be sounding a little woo-woo to some of you, but I'm going to go for it. The vibration and the energy in that energy center is going to do a lot of the healing work. The mind doesn't have to find the wounds. Whether that's the ego mind or the coach's mind asking questions, we are not looking for the wounds. This energy center holds a frequency of giving the gifts of comfort, security, unconditional love, integrity, safety. And what does not feel that way and needs support, as it's ready, will show itself. And we instruct the client to bring in healing, to honor. We'll use language, like what is words you can say to yourself to help you feel that healthy support. So in that way, it's very practical. You don't have to feel any other realm or anything, but you say, I'm okay. I am safe. I am embodied. I am home with myself. You know, try some statements for yourself. As you go there and you say these statements, you are building that integrity within you, and your clients doing that within themselves. So some clients are more verbal, some are more auditory, some are more visual, some are more kinesthetic. So they'll all experience it in their own way. I like to give enough variety, and don't worry about going deep. The person will go deep as they're ready. That's my advice on that one. If they keep getting distracted, I would, instead of trying to get rid of the ego, I would talk to it. Say, how could you reassure yourself that it's okay to do this work? So could you talk to that part of you that's your personality and say, I know you're helping me. I know you have really good intentions. And right now I am safe and ready to bring this healing to my lower body and to my root center. And saying that really helps in creating that atmosphere. And beautiful comment from Amanda. I would only think one can't seek the hurt and seek the healing at the same time. Yes, so we seek the healing and we allow the hurt to receive the healing. That makes sense. Okay, Rishi. In emotional history strategy, I thought we went deep into the emotional experiences that the client feels, and often clients give the coach very specific details to help recognize emotional patterns. Is there something wrong in doing that? So that's a different session. Some people here have done that emotional history session, some haven't. That is a talking session where the client is looking for experiences in their past family system that were emotional patterns that maybe now they have as an adult, and they're finding those. That could be a very helpful session when going through the chakra healing sessions. This is going at it in a different way, if that helps. Okay. I'm going to see what else we have here in our notes. And by the way, you have all the notes that I'm going through right now, you have in your classroom. So another point I didn't say is that in our root energy center, we hold our family of origin. We hold and we just let people know this is a place in your body where many, you know, if people want to know the exact tradition it comes from, for me, it would be Ayurveda. But we could probably look up all the different traditions that kind of find this intuitively, that this lower tailbone area is where there's a connection to one's ancestors and one's family system, and the formation of oneself. So emotional safety, and it is where we connect strongly with the earth element. So in the healing session, you're going to see breathing practice, a lot of things. I put a lot of things into those 1 hour healings. In the session guide that I'm going to demo for you now, so I'm not going to read through. This is almost like a lot of these notes are actual words that were said in the healing. So you're free to go through them. It is not grammatically correct, these notes. I was just typing pretty quickly. So one of the things I wanted to point out, a way into this healing that's a kind of nice way in, is to make a wish. So we can always ask a client, is there a wish you have for your own healing? Is there a wish or a blessing you want to give to a past event or a part of yourself? So just setting that intention or making that wish, or you could say it's prayer. This is a channel of love. This is like a river of love that we give to ourselves through that intention. So like for me, let's say I shared with you guys that kind of weird wounding around therapists, even though I love therapy and I have a therapist, I love my therapist. I might say, I'm setting the wish, the intention that the part of me that was a young person, overwhelmed by the chaos going on in a therapeutic environment, I give her healing today. And by setting that wish and that intention, I don't, just like the pillars of light in the room, I don't have to do more. It's there. It's going to receive what it needs. So that is the power of setting these wishes or prayers or intentions in the coaching session. So we can also find out if there's times of day or certain events that have our client feeling more lack of confidence or unworthiness or criticalness. And we can bring those events or times of day into the session. We can work with a guide or an element or a place in nature as an additional resource. So any questions about working with guides or angels, please add them into the chat. I'll say just a brief, because I know in other places in your training you have a lot about this, but the idea is that there's a lot of support in the universe, and there are energies or beings that are only loving and benevolent, that want to help guide your healing. And when we ask the universe for a specific form of energy to help our energy body or our root chakra, we might not get an image or a name or some kind of we might not see something, but we are inviting that support to help us. I would not invite it into my body, but I would invite that support next to me. Or for me, I like to receive the healing from behind, like a hand on the lower back, or like a stream of grace or water cascading down the back. Often the back body in healing is really ignored. And I'm finding more and more helping people lean into their back body helps them lean into their intuitive wisdom of whatever kind that intuition comes. And so guides are there to help connect us with our own healing resources. So whether this is an angel, whether this is your guide, might be Jesus or God or Mother Mary. Your guide might be Buddha. Your guide might be a dog that passed away. It doesn't have to take one form, like just angels or just this, but it's always kind, benevolent, and only has your absolute best wholeness and soul level nurturing as its only intent. So guides don't have any other intent, the guides we're talking about. There are other entities that could have other intents. That's why we have to be so clear in our intention. For some, the higher self is the best guide. And that is the part of oneself that is most true, most virtuous, most aligned with one's own values and inner goodness. So that higher self might be what really connects for your client versus a guide. We don't have to use the idea of a guide. That's not needed for this work, but it is an option. We can use nature, the beauty of a rainbow, the flow of a waterfall, the sound of birds singing. These natural metaphors are very healing energies that we can bring in. So the reason, so I used to, oh boy, I saw the question from Cecilia. Great question. Okay. I'm not saying you should do anything in a particular way. Everyone makes their best decisions at the time. So I'm a kinesthetic intuitive, you could say, or empath. I feel things in the body. And when I do journeys, I used to merge with my guides. And I would feel things very strongly kinesthetically in the body. I thought that was okay. But I also had a lot of energy fatigue and burnout, maybe more than was healthy for me. And of course, I took on a lot of energy work, a lot of teaching, and a lot of interaction with. At night, my practice is to guide souls to their next phase. So it's a very simple practice, just this way, not that way. It's like giving directions. And that's always my intention, to do that work at night, but it is tiring. So I was instructed by a teacher I trust to not merge anymore with guides, to see what it's like instead, to say, only I belong, only me and the divine in this energy body, only me and the divine. Every other energy that wants to support me is welcome next to me or behind me or in front of me, but only me and divine energy within me. And I have found it very healing. So that's my suggestion. Now, if you are in another tradition that enjoys merging with guides, and that is the way you work, and often in shamanism, for example, which had been part of my tradition, it still is, we empty ourselves. So our personality, our likes, our dislikes, our tendencies, they kind of clear out. And I still try to do this practice often. That clears. There's just an open awareness. And then our healing resources are what makes a suggestion to the client, guides the meditation. And so I still do that work, but now I'm setting the intention only to merge with my higher self and with divine wisdom. And I think that's just a personal choice, because I'm quite sensitive, and maybe I don't completely trust my discernment. I don't want anything in my energy system that's not me or the divine. So just a personal choice. Thank you for that question. Oh, if someone experiences lower back pain, it's really good to do chakra 1 healing. Absolutely. So, yeah, no question. We need more grounding and connection. Now, when you go into the heart of the pain, if someone is actively in pain and they take some deep breaths and they allow themselves permission to talk to the pain, to just be there with it, gently, with love, with kindness, usually at least the muscles begin to relax a little. We're no longer fighting against the tension in the body the pain has caused. And that's why there's a relaxation. So almost always in guiding meditation, for example, my intention is to help people relax, because most people, and this is the same with energy chakra work, most people have so much tension in their muscles, and I go right to my jaw. So many people have tension somewhere in the body that is creating a friction. And it's hard to really feel or hear one's energy when there's that tension. So the first level is often to relax. And that really allows space and room to go deeper. So when there's pain, going there, relaxing it, and inviting the gifts into that lower energy center That's really helpful. Okay, I wanna have time to demo this one. Let me see if there's anything I'm missing. Gosh, 9 pages of notes. But a lot of it is a transcription. All right, I want to share something about the quick notes on healing in the energy system. And this is in your classroom too. So here are the quick notes for healing in the energy system. 1, we set intentions for healing. And this is written down right under session 1, right there. And so you don't have to worry about writing it down, but I'm just going to tell it to you. Set intentions for healing, number 1. Number 2, ground energy and connect with breath and body, bringing in the earth element. That's also bringing the vayus into order. The winds or the rivers of energy are grounding and strengthening, so then that flow can be there. Connect with guides or imagination and supportive resources. So whatever are supportive resources, that's number 3. 4, experience and explore the beliefs, emotions, needs, kinesthetic information, sensory experience. So exploring what is here, what's coming into my attention, what exists here in this body, in this energy field. Add in resources like breath, light, empowering words, images, the use of hands. We can go into the energy body metaphorically with our hands and free things, just freeing it. I mean, even just doing that motion, feels so good. Getting rid of what's not needed. Maybe it's just tension. Call in the support of divine energy and guides, step 5. And then 6, clear and remove what doesn't belong. Send it to evolve or be recycled or to go back to the person that it came from. We do this in a respectful, loving way. So we're not sending negative energy out to someone. We're saying, with love and kindness, this does not belong to me. I send it back to who it belongs to. So that's an important sort of intention behind that. And number 7, fill up with more healthy, loving energy. Lean into the back body to receive healing. Use metaphors like streams of love, waterfall of grace, loving hands, healing words like I am okay, I've got this, I am loved, I am safe. The good thing about being such a heady culture is words carry energy and meaning. That's why all these coaching traditions and healing traditions that use words, because we're all raised with this reverence of the words, right? So we'll use words to bring in the emotion and the energy, kind of reverse engineering. Okay. All right, Katie, I love that share. I have noticed when I interact with people these days, my energy literally becomes massive. So I'm becoming quite introverted. I'm confused by this. I'm not sure what to do. Part of me just wants to stay at home. Yeah, and that can be sort of a stage of opening and awakening energy. Other people's energy can also, I don't know if this is for you, it can feel very rough in a way. So giving a friend a hug that used to be lovely to give them a hug now feels like some kind of energetic intrusion because you're feeling energy in a new way. This will settle down, it will ground. Working with the root chakra is really helpful for this. Also knowing when you're out in the world and your energy is feeling massive, you can release it in some way. So a technique I developed in my energy body that's kind of funny, but it worked for me, is as I exhaled, I imagined I was like a fish with gills right around my side body, my ribs, and I just released the excess energy through there. Sometimes as there's energy openings, we can feel actually so much love and joy that it hurts. Our energy body can get so big, it actually feels weirdly, blissfully painful. And this might happen for a week or two. It might happen for months or years to people. And I think what's important is knowing I can exhale it out. And sometimes, like for me, with any big emotion, whether it's bliss or big energy body, that exhale and just going around and using my hands to ground and release through the breath is really powerful. If your imagination shows you a part of the body where you also release energy, that bigness, and I don't know exactly how you experience the bigness, but sometimes it can feel almost like it needs to gently release out. You can give energy to a tree, for example, to a dog. I find dogs are massive energy receivers. Sometimes when this happens for people, they really need to do hands-on work with people because the amount of healing energy coming through the hands just wants to give. But trees are a great resource for that. Just putting your hands on a tree or a house plant, holding your house plant and connecting to it. Okay, lovely. All right. Thank you, Antonia, for sharing that, those steps there. This list is in your classroom under the Chakra 1 meditation. I put this there, and then all the downloads are there also. Your session notes, your session guide, your journal for certification based on your session, and your journal for self-healing based on the inner healing you do with the meditation in your room. So the program has your meditation to do. It has this class, and you practice the session. And absolutely hugging a tree, totally agree. It's easier for us. If you have a question, please send it. I will read the question. Linda will read the question. We care about your questions about this and your shares so much. For organizational purposes, it helps us if you organize your journal entries in your own document, and then you send it at the end. Otherwise, we've had in the past a difficulty tracking everything. We don't have a system that will just hold that for us in an easy way. Okay, beautiful. All right, so now I would love to get a volunteer. Maybe we'll take just a 3-minute break and then 5-minute break. Let's do a 5-minute break, and then let's do a coaching session demo with this work. And I will talk you through the session guide. By the way, the link is at the very top of this thread, this big long link there that we couldn't figure out. Mark and I were struggling to figure out how to do a short link. Anyone wants to help with that? Let us know. Okay. 5 minutes, and we'll be back at 1:12 my time, 1:12. Welcome back. Okay, I wanted to say something else as a big benefit of this lower chakra, the root center, the Muladhara chakra, am I saying it right? Is that some of the negative effects of, you could say, spirituality and of meditation that can happen is that people can become so expanded that they actually have delusions or psychotic breakdowns. These things happen to people if there's an overemphasis on transcendence. And some people, for probably many, many reasons, that can happen. Can also happen from an Ayurvedic language point of view. It's a terrible word, vata derangement, where there's a constant kind of spinning air element energy, winds that are moving up and out. Focusing in and down and creating this structure in the lower chakra. Some meditators might say, I don't like this. I like transcendence. I like to become one with everything. I like to become transparent and vast and empty. And that's real spirituality for me. Great. You can find that vastness, that stillness, that emptiness in your root center also. So as you go into the body and the energy centers, they also contain that vastness and that mystery. And they help direct that integrity in the energy so that people don't spin out. So I would just say, try it once, see if you can find that vastness inside. If you're talking to somebody who's a transcendent person that really values that. Now, I just grabbed these. I saw these in my room and I thought, what do I do to prepare for a coaching session? So, and I'm wondering what you do. So I don't normally do this, but I thought, you know, today holding a rock, it's just a rock from outside. And a rock is very grounding. Just holding that rock, it can be very tactile and helpful. And I have these lovely sprays, these mists, and I'm going, all right, what's going to help the most with grounding? Love. That's what this mister is called. So I just misted us all with love. Okay. And these actually come from a very special place. They come from Tara Mandala Center in Colorado. Those of you who are in Colorado, you should go visit Tara Mandala Center. I would love to go there. I go and meditate with the teacher from there here in San Diego, but the big center is there. Okay, so let's see who wants to volunteer. Get some root chakra healing here. Okay, all right, Kathy. Hi, Kathy.
Hey, happy
Your video
Friday.
looks great. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I just got it done.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to put us both here. Oh, there we go. Okay, great. So tell me, did you listen to the meditation yet? Is this new? Is familiar? Kind of where
It's familiar.
It's
Yeah,
familiar.
sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay. And anything you want to share kind of as you focus on this topic, anything that arises?
I think that I've historically had trouble with grounding. I'm always up in my head and, doing. So I think that it's a constant practice for me. So I'm excited to explore what might happen here.
Okay,
I do go outside and ground a lot when I need to, but.
Okay, good. I'm glad to know that that's something you're familiar with and that's something you do for yourself. That's awesome. All right, so I think I'm going to just pretend you're a client who's never been shared any of this with to see how it goes. And to tell you, I mean, just total honesty here, guys, I'm a little nervous. I've never done a session demo like this before. So I need to ground myself. That spray did not do it. The rock did not do it. So let's all just take a moment and support each other. And you too, Kathy, we'll just take a moment to ground ourselves and connect with whatever guides or higher self or earth element to support us. Okay. So the session I'd like to do with you, Kathy, I'm gonna just share with you a little bit about energy centers. And I know you signed up for this coaching program with me and you know a little bit already, but I want to just remind you that there are 7 energy centers. And the reason we start with the one that's near our tailbone, we call it the root chakra, is because it helps align all of our energy and it really helps us sort of create a safe container for our healing and our emotions and our energy. And you're going to feel it in your own way. There's no right or wrong way to feel it. We're going to just kind of explore today. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about that root chakra, if it's okay.
Sure.
Okay.
So I can't see these chakras, right? Just to clarify.
That's right. You can't see them. You might feel them, you might not feel them, but you're going to learn to feel into those places in the body. And we're going to both trust and allow whatever shows up for you as you bring your attention there. We're going to just trust that that is what wants your attention and your healing. And it's gonna be hopefully a very soothing, relaxing kind of guided meditation that I take you through, and then we'll process it together.
Okay.
So first I want to just talk about it so you understand a little more about it. So as you're understanding here, I know you're also taking it in and at a heart level and emotionally. So
Okay.
it's okay to talk about it for a while. So this root chakra at the base of the spine, this is like where your sits bones are. And this is a place that helps us to feel stable, safe, loved, secure. And it gives us certain gifts like grounding our energy, having presence within ourselves, and it supports us so that our emotion and energy can flow without being overwhelming, but also flow so that we can feel enthusiasm, caring, joy, love, all the good stuff. And when we have negative emotions, quote negative, we can be there for ourselves too. Sometimes for some people, the wounds that arise there that want healing have to do with feeling worthy or connected or enoughness or love. So I'm just going to hold space for you to have whatever experience will benefit you today. So first, let's just talk a little bit about, see, hold on, guys. I'm sacred pause. I'm reading my guide session notes. So if I were, okay, so to be smooth as a coach, I would say, I'm going to just look at the exercise a minute before we go on. Okay. So first, I'd like to know, since this is our first session together, how do you feel about closing your eyes and going inside? You already said a little bit, but I want to
I'm
know
really
more.
comfortable with that. It actually helps me focus more and get more in touch with what I
Okay.
need to get in touch with. So thank you for
Okay.
asking.
Absolutely. And do you have a way that you tend to imagine more than another way? Like, do you see things or feel them or hear?
I definitely feel them.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And when you say feel, is it more emotions or is it more like kinesthetic or kind of a knowingness?
Emotions mostly, and sometimes it's just a surety or a knowing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. That's wonderful. Okay. Um, so tell me if there's some really important, I call them stability points. They could be like security resources for you. They might be things in nature, someone you care about, and a habit you have. You said you go outside and ground a lot. That would kind of be one.
Yes,
there-
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. I'll go outside I live in Florida, so it's nice most of the time. I'm very fortunate. I'll go outside on my wooden deck and sit on it because the wood is grounding, and or I'll go out by a tree and sit with the roots, just be out, or by my bamboo. I have a bunch of bamboo and sit under it.
Great.
Especially when I feel I've been inside in the computer too much and getting too up in my head, which I do a lot. Then I'll go
Yeah.
outside and just breathe and ground right in my
Beautiful.
backyard. So
So breathing also.
breathing, yes.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
what is that breath like for you? Is it deep breathing? Is it another kind?
Like a deep diaphragmatic breath,
Okay,
nice
great.
and deep, and feel my belly rising and just sort of calming. And then I try to get heavier. Try
Okay.
to experience that heaviness, not that flighty, airy freneticness.
Yeah, that's great. So I want you to use all of those tools in this session because you've already got these tools. So they're
Okay.
going to really assist. Um, is there any kind of philosophy you have about the world or belief that would be good for me to know that helps you also to stabilize and ground?
I just believe in the power of the universe, universal love, source, the divine, all of those words work for me. God works.
Great.
Studied many religions, but I think they're all very similar. We are all one. Unity.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So that statement, "We are all one,"
Mm,
is a good one for you?
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good, good. All right. So we're going to begin with a little bit of an exercise. And I'm just, again, looking at my notes. All right. So getting comfortable now and closing your eyes, you can begin to go inward. And we're just going to begin with exploring the root energy center. We talked a little bit about where it is. If you want to, ever put your hand on your lower stomach to kind of point out, it's lower than that, but sometimes I find having a hand there helps guide my attention. And when we ground energy, as you know, with the practices you do, you're really connecting to the earth element and adding stability and calm and comfort and love for yourself in this root chakra area, as well as everywhere in your whole being. But this is a good place to really anchor that self-worthiness and self-love that connects to the universe. So just going in the body and in your own way, beginning to imagine the space there at your tailbone, or it might feel easier to feel where the bottom of your legs meet the chair. And just beginning to breathe now, that nice diaphragm breathing that you do. And if you'd like, you can either imagine the roots of a tree connecting to earth, or a cord of light that goes from this lower part of the body, wraps around the hips, the lower back, goes within. And it's just like a cord of light, like ribbons of light that connect and create a very beautiful, wide connection with earth. And then you can imagine earth light coming up to meet you and hold you. And just breathe with that, whether you're imagining the roots of a tree or that light going up and your energy going down in that tunnel, that kind of cord of light anchoring you to the earth, filling you with love and light. And see how it is right now to either imagine a tree or a large rock or a mountain, and just enjoying as you imagine. It could be a feeling you have, or a feeling in the body and knowingness, as you allow that structure of the tree roots or the mountain or the rock to remind you of stability, of comfort. And just continue with your breathing. And see if there's a place in nature that you enjoy being. It could be a beach, a mountain, woods, gardens, deserts, parks. You choose the place and trust whatever comes to you today. That's one of the skills you'll be building, is just letting yourself trust whatever comes as this place in nature that's really comforting. And just let yourself, with whatever comes to you, imagine getting a little closer to it. It might be that you feel it or you see it, and just continuing to breathe and noticing if there's textures or colors or sounds. You don't need to see it, you can feel it. Mhm. And allow this place in nature to help you feel grounded and present in your body. And if you'd like, you could connect right now in this place in nature. You could just imagine there's an energy guide there to help your healing. They're to assist you with learning and exploring your chakras and energy system. And this guide is very loving and nurturing. They might be an angel or a mystical being or an animal or a plant or an element, or it might just be loving energy, universal energy. And just you can just set that intention to have that support. And you might want to go into your lower body and feel now again where this lower energy center is. And just bring that sense of comfort and appreciation for nature right here in your body. And just know that you're always in control. You can always talk to me and stop the process at any time. But I'm here for you, and I'll just keep guiding you so you can go deeper without needing to think or talk. But if you ever want to, you just open your eyes and talk to me, okay? So as you go into your lower body, bringing that comfort and appreciation for that natural setting into your body now. And take some deep breaths if you would like. And just know that right now you're bringing yourself healing in your root energy center, your chakra 1. And just notice how you feel about exploring this base of your spine area. Is there any sensation there you notice, or the whole area? And just see if there's any thoughts that come up or sensations or feeling. Everything is welcome in the healing, every part of you. And if you have other guides or resources you want to call in, imagine them surrounding you. As you breathe and connect with your body, you're adding stability in your energy system. And just let me know if you wish anything that shows up here.
Yeah, so I'm actually in California in the Redwood Forest.
Beautiful.
And some of those trees are so big that you can actually, some of them are hollowed out and you actually can sit in the tree, actually sitting in that tree. So almost like I've become a part of it. And I've not called in an energy guide before, but I love that idea for an energy guide for this process. And it is like what came was like a really fun, magical little fairy with a magic wand, very playful and joyful and fun. Sort of just actually I think there's a lot of them. That was just one, and there's a whole bunch of them now. It's sort
That's
of all
great.
around. Yeah.
That's great. So now going into the body, as you keep with you the spirit, the feeling of being in that tree and those fairies helping you, go into that part of your body and just witness a little while the sensations. And if there's anything that arises that wants healing or attention, just notice it.
Mm.
Yeah.
The definitely lower back. Yeah,
Okay.
I feel it there. Just a I don't know, burning sensation.
Okay, so take some deep breaths with that burning sensation. See what it's like just to bring the back breath right there to that sensation. And see if there's anything that wants just to be set free with your exhale. And if there's any belief or feeling or memory or thought that is there associated to that sensation, you can speak it or you can just know it and give to it. You don't have to share it out loud.
Yeah, it's been there all my life.
Okay, so just giving yourself presence right now. And if it helps as you exhale to release any part of that, whatever it is that's coming through that's been there your whole life, if there are parts of it that you wish to release, if there's parts of it that you wish to hold and love, you're going to decide now. You're the conductor of your own energy healing. So just noticing. breathing and being and calling in your guides. Call in those little fairies. See what it's like to feel that redwood tree behind you. Can you lean on it? Yeah, and maybe there doesn't have to be clarity today about what wants to be released or healed. It might just be witnessing in this really loving, kind spirit of attention to whatever is there in that lowest chakra. And then we're going to open up to the gifts of it also. Now take your time. And when you're ready, just taking your time breathing, trusting if you want to send some of that energy back somewhere or up to the universe or down to the earth to recycle, knowing you can do this with exactly the kindness that you deserve. If something has been with you for a long time.
Yeah, it's I've released it before, but it seems to come back often. It's
Yeah.
like a cycle.
And if you can find just one part of it, just kind of breaking it down into one feeling or one sensation, one word, and just letting that go to be evolved or healed or go back to where it needs to go, whatever works for you.
So
And use your body as you do this. Yeah.
I just kind of want to actually gently massage it down into the tree and into the ground, into earth, all of it.
Yeah.
And thank it for being here and serving me. And its intention has always been to protect me. I know that.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything you would like it to know? Like that sounds like you're very kind and grateful to it, but is there anything it needs to know now that you need more of or that you need to release?
I think it just needs to know that I am safe. All is well.
Yes. Beautiful. So let's hold those words and let those words really resonate in the lower body. I am safe. I am well. All is well. And in this way, you're adding this kind of reorganization to this energy center. As you exhale, just see if you can feel any unwinding, like an unfurling there, so that you can ground your energy even more with your breath, with your body. And any emotions that want to flow, let them flow. That is part of energy
It's flowing.
healing.
I'm crying. I don't.
Yeah, let that happen. That's so natural as part of this process, just to allow that. And it can be just like a relaxing of everything. Yeah.
I just want to wiggle it all out.
That's beautiful. So as you wiggle, just say to yourself, I am well. All is well. I am safe.
And I want to say thank you. Thank you for serving me. I'm okay now. I've got this.
Beautiful. So well said. Yeah. So let's just see if there's another way to connect right now with this energy center. If you're given a symbol or a picture, a color, a pattern, anything at all, just go back in there and say, I want to fill this area.
Other way for a minute here.
Okay. Yeah. Coming up the heart.
Yeah, just a little belching.
Oh, good. That's energy moving. Good. Air moving. Good. Take your time. Yeah.
Oh,
that means it's really happening.
It seems to be going both ways.
Yeah. That happens, and laughter is good too. So just let that move. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we want to
more intense, like really achy. both sides of
Okay.
the lower back and really super intense right now.
Okay. So you're putting your hands there.
Yeah, I guess
Yep.
naturally put my hands there. Yeah.
Great. As you breathe and connect with the back body, just notice what it's like to let yourself receive healing from the universe right there where the achiness is. And just guide that healing, invite that healing. It could be like a waterfall behind you, or it could be like direct rays of sunlight, whatever comes to you as an image. Know that this achiness won't always be there. It's drawing your attention. So that discomfort draws the attention very acutely to where you need it.
Mm.
Yeah. And just breathe and notice. See if you can, is there any natural metaphor that brings
I'm just hearing this weird country song.
oh, perfect.
I don't know, but it doesn't really, I don't know. It's just my achy breaky heart. It's
I
making me
love
laugh.
it. I love it. Yes, I think I know that song. Yeah. So let's let that song play out. That's intuitive wisdom at work. So let that song play out inside of you.
I
And
don't
in
know
your
all
back.
the words to it. I just, yeah, just something
Yeah.
about it's related to my heart.
Yeah.
My,
Yeah.
I guess
So
it's
see
all
what
connected.
it's like to go into that lower chakra now. And you've given it a lot of attention. It might be deeper than your lower back where this energy center is.
Mm.
So see what it's like to go even deeper into the body and notice a spaciousness there of love. And if there's a spaciousness of love, what can fill that space up now? What is it like to call in your self-worth, your relationship with the universe, that sense that you've got your own back?
Mm.
And maybe there's some other words that come, or feelings or memories as you fill with that healthy empowerment, that healthy structure. You might hear the song, or you might see something like a building or a kind of structure of lines or colors or shapes. Just allow whatever comes.
I'm feeling like I'm swirling. Sort of looks like maybe DNA looks, like that's crisscrossy,
Yeah,
just coming in all around and down and through.
wonderful.
Yeah. And then it's expanding in the area that I'm
Yeah.
putting my hands on, the lower back.
So that's energy healing at work. So just allowing that, appreciating your beautiful connection with divine energy, with spirit and universal love that can not only feel this, but also gets those symbols and sensations. So just breathe and allow. Know the redwood trees are there, that space inside the tree, the fairies.
Again, I'm getting, just getting a lot of songs. I'm getting, I Am Light by a beautiful chorus. And that DNA swirling thing is all lighting up.
Wonderful. Let that happen. Just see, what is it like to relax into that a little more.
I'm
Just
gonna
leaning
lay
into
next to the
that.
tree
Yeah.
now.
Do whatever you need to relax into that. We'll just do a few more breaths here,
All right.
as long as you wish. And if there's anything while you hear and feel, if there's anything you want to say to that root chakra, you can speak to it inside, you can speak to it outwardly, whatever works. It's like giving yourself the best parenting advice of your life as you structure and accept and create that security there in your energy.
I'm hearing what I said earlier, which is all is well.
Beautiful.
And that's kind of all good.
And just notice if there's anywhere else in the body that needs to relax or unwind at all to receive this all as well. If there's anything else you want to clear through your exhale or movement. That's wonderful. Yeah, so good to move and shake. Yeah, sometimes even when we're receiving a big energy blessing, there's something that needs to be shaken off too.
Yeah, I kind of need to go.
Yeah, because it's a lot. It's big. Beautiful. All right, you've done a great job. You tell me
good.
when you feel complete.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, awesome.
Whew.
Whew. So I loved how you could share and how much you received in different ways. Get some water. I'm going to get some water too. Take a moment. Yeah. So tell me how that was for you. Was it
That was amazing.
surprising?
It was amazing. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful to you. And thank you everyone here too. I felt that that you are holding space.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just still trying to process the
Yeah. Take your time. And sometimes we don't want to talk about it, and
Yeah.
sometimes we do. One thing I just want to kind of remind you of little elements you shared.
Okay. I don't remember
So-
everything I did.
Right.
I remember like I was burping at one point and I was thinking, oh God, I hope it's not too loud. And
We didn't hear any burps.
and then the fairies, I don't know where that, I think like in the forest, I always feel like there's fairies around, and it was beautiful.
I
still feel a
really
little
liked how
achy.
there was one at first and then there were many.
Yeah. Still feel a little achy there, but I think that's just
Yeah.
residual. Yeah.
Yeah, and it might, that's okay. So keep taking care of yourself tonight. Sometimes when we bring a lot of attention to an area, our attention can bring a little tension too. So we have to relax that more. So whatever that is for you, moving or a certain position or whatever you do to keep relaxing that area. I was fascinated by the songs and by the matrix that you
Yeah, I don't know. I just was telling you what was coming up. So
it's so good. It's
Yeah.
so good. Is there anything that you would want to bring in as a practice this week, either a visualization or that song or movement?
I think the visualization of the swirling energy DNA,
Mhm.
as I'm sitting in the tree, just sort of that thing, and the I am light. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me.
Oh, that's okay. Let it go. It's a
the I
sign
am
of
light.
good energy
Yeah.
healing when there's some air moving like
Yeah,
that.
I felt like it wanted to go out and down. It was going both ways. So I felt like that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I bring that song in. I don't know if you've ever heard of a beautiful chorus. They sing these amazing songs.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I am light by a beautiful chorus
Okay.
came into my head. And that's such a healing song. And then I could feel that light, like that DNA thing being lit up everywhere and sort of swirling around in my body, and then spreading out at the hips and the area of the chakra area, like the lower hips, like a girdle, like a whole girl pushing down. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll do that whole image.
And right now, if you can just give a suggestion to your energy that's creating some upward movement to find its rightful place, and just come into center in the body, and know that if there's excess energy that needs to come out, that can happen too. But you can just say, find your rightful place. And and the hand movements you're doing are great.
I just need to.
Yeah, that's great. So if someone didn't know what to do with their hands, one I like is this, bringing everything down like a French press, but you're the French press. Making the best coffee of your life, grounding the energy. And but go with what works for the client too. So it just seemed like you naturally do certain movements that are really healing. Do you think, is there any time in your day or your kind of life where you want a little bit more of this grounding support? Like, for example, sometimes before we go out in the world, like if I'm going to somewhere like Costco, I'm going to want to ground my energy in the parking lot before I go in.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because you're right. Whenever you're going out into a frenetic space, it's a good time to do it.
Yeah.
Particularly when I go to work out at the Y, it's like crazy. Crazy. There's
Great
so many
idea.
people and so
Yeah.
much. So I have not been, that's a great idea. Do that before I kind of like protect myself and be grounded and
Yeah. And I love that you said that, protect myself. So that is a natural benefit of this grounding in the lower chakras, is a kind of protection.
yeah.
How would you describe protection on an energy level? I'm just curious.
I think, it's a protection of your energetic field.
Yeah.
But it's not so hard that you won't let others in. It's not like a hard shell for me. It's like I don't know, a soft,
That's
like an egg
wonderful.
around me, like maybe
Yeah.
like an egg, but not the yolk.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Can you bring that to the area behind your back and even under your seat, so that it's, sometimes we forget, we focus a lot of people on protecting their heart area, but
Mhm,
bringing that kind of protection to the lower body, and
mhm.
even if you want all the way around the legs, wherever you want it to be, just know that you can do that. And I love how you described that it's got this sort of flexibility. It's not hard. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds like it's a good thing to do that before the workout, and also when you already do your grounding.
yeah,
So when you go out and you sit by the tree or on the wood deck, I would just suggest this week trying a couple of times to also go in the body
yeah.
and really feel into the body, and also check if that protection that you're releasing, if it has anything it wants to say or anything it needs.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't know if that protection was related to a younger you or more of a younger self,
Mm-hmm.
but we can do this work also. You can do this for yourself, where you invite that younger self into the healing,
Mm-hmm.
and just really allowing that. So if that's ever something you want to try, or we could do it next time.
That sounds
Okay.
beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. What a lovely healing to witness.
Oh, Colleen says I Am Light is by India. Okay, I
Oh,
know Beautiful Chorus. They sing it as well. I didn't know who the original artist was. That's
beautiful. I'm
great.
going to look
Thank
up
you,
both of
Colleen.
those versions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you. So I did my best to stay with the script, actually, but I know it's always very hard for me to stay with the script. And we're not really meant to in this kind of work, because our client is going to bring up what is meaningful for them. So the script is really only there as like a launching off point. The thing you're really keeping in mind is that you're only bringing in healing, natural metaphors. You're not looking for more pain. You can ask for any beliefs or information that wants to be healed here, but you're continuing to remind your client about their breath, their guides, any images they brought in, and what the benefits of this energy center are. So if there's any suggesting you're doing with the energy, it's always in and down and stabilizing. And also releasing what's not needed, sending it either to Earth or to the universe or back to where it came with love. Okay, Elizabeth, hi.
Hi, I was wondering, do you have any experience using healing sound bowls with clients in regards to the chakra centers?
So my relationship with sound bowls are that, I guess you guys can't see mine. I have it behind me. They're very powerful.
That was going to be
And
what I ask.
For me, they stimulate my energy.
Hmm.
And so they make it really active. And so for me, that would not be what I would do when grounding this energy. If you want to mix them, I trust that you're, skilled in that, and that you really listen to your client and how it's affecting them. And I wouldn't overdo it. My suggestion is just not overdo it with mixing sound healing with this. If you wanted to do one or two, movements with the bowl and just really letting that help. But it's different. Sound healings, I'm not trained in it. I've been to a bunch of them, and my body just, responds so strongly that I need to be careful, because I've actually injured my back right after sound healing.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because that's why I'm asking, is because I've had an experience with one for the heart chakra. And when I first heard it, I started crying. And it was like a joyful, like a releasing. And I was curious if you felt like it might be too powerful to bring to someone, because this is already stimulating a lot of energy. So thanks for answering that.
I always trust all of you guys have your own healing paths and your own tools. So I really respect the tools that you guys already use, and I respect and I trust that you're going to use these tools in alignment with what you already use. If I were a master of sound healing, I feel like I could say more on this point, but I'm not.
Thank you. That was
yeah, absolutely. It's good to know what we don't know too.
Exactly.
I do have to say, I once had, it's just like one of the best memories that was so weird. My teacher, Frank, that does shamanic healing and real divine sort of healing work, he would come around with these little bells at the end of just guided meditation. And he would do, like, he's a Reiki healer too, and he would do that. I was going to Frank's meditations twice a week for a couple years. I imagined the bells he used as these intricate 10 different bells around each other, all with their own patterns. My eyes were always closed. I had this complicated vision of what it was. And once I shared with him as though that was real, and he took out this little bell, I was like, that's it. So for me, it was great proof of the profound healing that can happen and stimulate all the senses into believing something. So someday, then I went and bought that same kind of bell. It's like a wood bell that, anyways, I'll share it with you guys sometime. Okay, any other questions about this session? Wow, and that's powerful, Katie, what you shared.
I like your gym. I'm not driving a good gym.
Oh, we're hearing some sounds there. Okay, well, the sound stopped. So, all right. Can we speak the word of God in body parts along with I am okay, etc., like I am beautifully and wonderfully made? So I think that really depends on your client's belief system. It's important that, at least to me, it's important as a coach that I am not putting in my vocabulary, my beliefs into the client, especially when working in the energy centers. These are their healing portals. So you can ask, what are the words of inner healing that come to you? But I would really go with what in the moment are the words that come to the client. So, even though I was doing a lot of guiding in that session, my intention and belief is that the client is doing the healing. The client's energy center is doing the healing. I am not doing healing work. As holding space and witnessing and being connected to my guides, I have side effects, you could say, to holding that space. And of course, as coaches, we are part of the healing process. But what really helps me is this leaning into a sense that the client has this power and agency within themselves and has their own system of guides and resources and inner wisdom. And that might be partly their belief system. That might be their connection to the divine, to God, to Buddha nature, to universal light, to love, and let it flow out of them. And it might surprise you. Someone who's an atheist might suddenly say, wow, I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's this invisible support system that I can just lean into. I say, great, whatever that support system is, if you like it, go for it, lean into it, you know? So one of the things when the root chakra is well grounded and well structured, both the root chakra and the second chakra, there can be more sexual flow, you could say, sexual energy in a healthy, stable way. So if someone has like a sex addiction, they might have so much energy churning in their lower chakras that it's feeling like they can never get enough. They can never be satisfied. And that would be what I would look at as a problem of balancing in that lower energy center. As the energy centers open and awaken, sometimes people will have certain things happen that surprise them. Like my teacher Adyashanti, who was like in a Zen monastery doing a retreat, when his root chakra opened, or one of the lower ones, I don't know which one, he couldn't stop visualizing people fornicating all around him. So he just kept seeing, like in his mind's eye or whatever, all these people and beings having sex. And he said it was like the most difficult retreat of his life, because it wouldn't stop until it stopped, and then it went away and never came back. But so, you know, that might happen if trying to stimulate an energy opening, or if someone's going through some kind of spiritual awakening process. As we ground and stabilize, this is more really about finding security and safety in ourselves. So one of the things that I would hope maybe would happen on the level of sexuality or intimacy is a person who had any shame around masturbation, that shame would fall away. Or if a person felt they couldn't say no in the area of intimacy, it would be easier to say no because they could protect themselves more. If a person has a hard time connecting with how they feel when they're intimate, they will have more agency, more ability to feel into what they're feeling. It's not going to suddenly give you a different kind of sex life. I would never say to a client that that's a benefit. You never know. Could it? Sure. Being more stable, connected, feeling our energy can always increase pleasure. It can increase connection. It can increase sensitivity and intuition, which are all part of healthy sexuality. But at least in my work, that's not what that's not the work I'm doing with the energy centers. However, I totally support you if that's the work you're doing. I've trained relationship coaches who are also tantric sex teachers. And that's been really interesting. One woman in particular at 75, her work was to help couples in the bedroom with them, helping them have greater intimacy. And so I learned a lot talking to her. It's great. It's great that she's, you know, older and been doing this work for so long. She came to our training, this was about 7 years ago, because she wanted to get out of the work in the bedroom. She really wanted to move to working in the living room with the couples, not in the bedroom. So she said, enough is enough. Too many years of this. Yeah, great question though, Rish. In my experience, the second chakra that we'll be doing next time, that chakra really connects to, I'll give you a little preview. That chakra really relates to the divine feminine in everyone, regardless of gender. And the divine feminine can be the aspect of mystery, sensuality, creativity, and emotions. So most people know that emotions are a big part of intimacy. And so when emotions are allowed to be experienced and flow, and in the second chakra, there can be a lot of beliefs that arise around being different or weird, or too much, or too mystical, or too sexual, or not sexual enough, or all these things. And when that area is brought into greater balance and intuition, then a lot more of one's whole being can be held and witnessed. And it's a very wide, open, expanded energy center. Now, what's interesting is that, is physically like in a woman where the uterus is. And, that part of my body has had a lot of great use in this life, 5 kids, and I had a hysterectomy, had a lot of dysfunction in that part of my body after having 5 kids. And I listened to an energy teacher, another woman asked the question about getting a hysterectomy, and I loved this energy teacher's answer. She said, that's a kind of energy purification too. When you get an organ removed, you are literally physically removing something that was giving you some obstacle, and it can be an enormous clearing and opening energetically. And that really connected to my experience about different surgeries I've had. I've also had on my third eye a cancerous mole removed, and on my temple. And after I had those removals where they like put a hole in your body, I went to a spiritual healer who said to me, it's a lot easier to have awakenings in your head. You don't have to develop a cancer and get surgery. It's really much easier than that. And I really kept that as a lesson. And they actually, in ancient Tibet, people used to actually, in India, they would actually do surgeries to open those centers. And I get it, because when you're healing from that kind of physical intrusion of a hole, all of your energy goes there. So I felt an enormous benefit from those surgeries, which can sound so weird, but it's an interesting way to look at any kind of physical experience, that it also has a spiritual, energetic benefit. And so even pain in our body, it guides our attention to a certain place. So if we can talk to it and listen and connect to the energy center that's near that place, it's really beneficial. Absolutely both. And I'm just reading the chat. Yes, Amanda's totally right. Both lower chakras can be affected when a rape or assault happens, because it's not just physical thing that happens, or even the first 3, if the person did not listen to their gut instinct around the situation, perhaps. So absolutely, any violation of the physical body, the spiritual self, the sense of safety in the world, that creates a wounding, which very likely would manifest in those lower energy centers. Now, remember, we're all vast. We've all had many experiences. So even if we have had a real violation of our safety, of our spirit, of our sexuality, it doesn't mean there haven't been other life events that have given us stability and protection and nurturing too. So each client is a whole being. They are not only the most terrible things that have happened to them, they're also all the blessings, all the joys. And I think this is really important. This is something I don't hear a lot of in this world. So like, I go to a lot of teachings on this stuff, and I feel like it's really underemphasized, that whatever we've suffered, we've also most likely had, and this is not just look at I'm 100% about being with the suffering when it needs to be held and healed and nurtured. And also, I want people to know that their life experience as parents, as artists, as runners, whatever it is, has also given them resources in these energy centers. So I guess that's just my angle on it. And when there is an assault or an abuse, one thing I want to say is that everyone does their very best to protect themselves and heal from that situation. There's no right way. And I really take offense by the kind of, some of the messages that are out there of not being a victim. I actually think it's totally appropriate to be a victim when you're a victim. There's a perpetrator and there's a victim. That doesn't mean we don't also heal and become stronger and clearer and everything, but I have no problem with people. I celebrate being able to say, I was hurt in this way. There was a perpetrator. And I do think also not the other kind of speak in this self-help world that I don't like is an idea that everyone at the bottom has a good intention. People who commit crimes against others, whether it's sexually, spiritually, emotionally, yes, everyone has a higher self. Everyone has a soul. On an ultimate level, I completely feel we are all one, and the actions and the persona, the being that did those crimes, I don't think it's helpful to anyone to say they had some positive intention there or anything like that. So I don't know. I just share that because I think we are doing such deep work with people, and I'm hoping that aligns with you guys, that it's okay to know that one has been a victim at some point. It's okay to know that we have suffered. And on a compassion level, so one of the things, and this is my belief, that no one needs to have this belief who grows and learns with me. But my belief, and I don't have evidence for this, but my belief is that we have multiple lives. And so in that belief, there's this idea that we have been everything. And so whether there are actually multiple lives or not, I think the idea that's central to that philosophy is that therefore I can have compassion for everything because I've been everything. I have been a murderer. I have been an angel. I have been a father. I have been a son. I have been all these things. And so that can sort of help hold that space of, and it allows for even more compassion to be there when we have that angle on things. Yeah. Well, so one idea, then I'm answering the question from Carrie, if we've been a victim, how is the best way to go through that trauma? I feel that I've released it, but then I feel it's still there. So I've also been a victim of, I've been a victim of sexual abuse. I've been a victim of emotional narcissistic abuse. I've not been a victim of a lot of physical abuse in my life, but some. And one of the things that I really lean on from a trauma-informed lens is that when, and this is just a word, the self, when we are whole and we are stable, and this is where the root center really helps us, the parts of the traumatic event that show up to be healed are doing so because they're ready. So for example, with some of the abuse I experienced, I blocked it. I mean, I kind of knew it happened, but then it was as a child, a lot of my life, I didn't let myself think about it until I was a mom of 4, doing a lot of energy healing work. And suddenly I had memories. And, you know, sometimes people say in hypnosis and whatever, those are false memories. This was not in hypnosis, but I felt mature and stable enough in some way to relate to that. Now, all of this work is helping a person become safe and stable so that they can allow what needs to be seen to be loved without blaming oneself. So I think that's like where we hurt ourselves the most sometimes after we have been a victim of something, is then there's the self-blaming or doubting. Did I do something to make that happen? Was I not protective enough? Do I have, even on a spiritual level, do I have some kind of bad karma? If you believe in past lives, you might go down a rabbit hole of what did I do to deserve these parents? Or what did I do to, you know, whatever. And so that doesn't help us, right? So how do we feel what we feel, give ourselves love, and allow that grief process to be there as it needs? Because it's sort of like a grieving, right? When ready, a grieving of what happened to our younger self. And I think all this work prepares us to be able to hold that grief, just like we would hold the grief of a loved one who's had a loss. This is a loved one. It's just us from the past. And they had a loss. They had an intrusion or a crime against them. So, yeah, and it can start with some people just being able to speak to that part of oneself. I think it makes sense that in this work with the root chakra, we do some more inner child work. So it's so hard. You guys know I like to make things bigger and bigger and bigger, but this is supposed to be an 8-week course. But I'm gonna throw into your classroom something about inner child healing, because I think it really resonates with this lower body healing, lower chakras. The main emphasis though is allowing, and in the healing meditation that you listen to for the root energy center, the root chakra, you'll hear that I invite the younger self to be there in the healing. So at any time in your coaching, you can always invite, in the energy coaching and the chakra healing, invite the younger parts of self to be there and receive the healing. Invite the adult self, the whole self, to hold or play or dance or just relax with that younger self. So nothing is being let go of, nothing needs to be released. It's just inviting that part of you in to relax and receive healing. Usually, naturally, there's a kind of connection that happens, and then there's more integration with that younger self. And there can also be a conversation between us now, the mature self, and that younger self. So that's really, to me, the heart of inner child work, is that conversation and that inclusion in the healing, that listening. And when we get to the throat center, that's where there's a lot of listening that gets as a gift of the throat center, is actually to listen. So we keep working with those parts of ourselves and our inner child and our wounds throughout the whole energy system. So this is deep stuff. This is why I first called it relationship chakra healing, but then people were so confused by that. So, and then actually it was Elizabeth, you said something about inner healing. And I was like, oh, I like how that sounds, inner healing. So funny about words. All right, guys. Well, it has been over 2 hours. I'm going to make a little change in our schedule. Next week, I believe we have a session. I believe our next one is on the 23rd. And I'm going to make that session focused on practice. So that's going to give you guys time to do the healing meditation for yourself, to read through the notes for yourself, and then to come to class and practice it with another colleague. So we're going to take that extra session there to practice. And yes, absolutely, we heal our relationship with others as we heal our relationship with ourselves. And so this first energy center is more about the relationship to the self. The second chakra, we're going to talk a little bit more about emotions and sharing of emotions and sharing of whatever it is in us that feels a little different with the world too. Okay, guys, so good to be here with you. Let's just set a little closing of our circle. So if you guys don't mind, just like 2 minutes, just imagining all of us. Maybe we're holding hands in a circle around the earth. And in this circle that we make as we hold hands around the earth, we also hold in our circle all the sacred, unusual parts of ourself, whatever needs healing or love or gives joy, our resources, we hold those all together in this sacred circle. And with that energy of connection and responsibility and honoring, we honor ourselves and we honor everyone else that we will work with, our future clients, our current friends, clients, colleagues. So we really close this session with a respect and honoring. However you do that inside, and just send your energy down to the earth, feeling connected, supported by the earth, knowing that in the week to come, you'll learn more from your energy center, from your root chakra. You'll spend time, maybe you decide to spend 5 minutes a day with your root chakra. And then you journal and you listen to the messages the root chakra gives you. These might be kinesthetic, these might be beliefs, these might be emotions, images, songs. Just listening to the root chakra and what it needs and what it shares and how it integrates and creates a stability and support. Okay. All right, guys, be well. Talk soon. Take care, everybody.